Welcome to Urban Legends with your hosts, Smartwatch, Neil and Chris, and Omas. Bluetooth speaker.
Hello and welcome to this week's Urban Legends. Something slightly different this week. We are currently in between series. Neil, I believe, is sunning himself in the Maldives, and I'm currently in South Korea. I could no longer get my podding dispensation, so I'm doing my national service. We decided I wanted to keep putting some stuff out, so this week we have a couple of cut down episodes from series 1, we call them Urban Legend Classics. These are a couple of years old, back when we were mere pod children, unlike the pod preteens we are now. So bear that in mind. But they haven't been listened to massively, so hopefully it's new to you. And should be all right. Cool. I'll speak to you at the halfway point. Goodbye. Why don't you tell me a bit more about this urban legend which has got you so hot under the collar?
Well, let's introduce it first. This is the local legend of La Pacualita. I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah. So this is a mannequin in a. So we've already sort of talked about the mannequin. So this is a preserved mannequin in a shop window. But there's a local legend that holds that it's actually the preserved corpse of the original shopkeeper's daughter, who died tragically on her wedding day.
Shopkeeper's daughter?
Yes.
Mm.
So you do get embalmed corpses as tourist attractions, brilliantly. So
yeah, and there's
some popes in the Vatican.
That. Yeah.
You've got Lenin in Red Square.
Uh-huh.
And there's some quite elaborate kind of like stuff that they have to do to preserve Lenin's body. I think there's a cadre of scientists who have to, re-embalm him every year, and they
pump it full of antifreeze.
Yeah. Vodka and antifreeze, and check the lighting conditions and atmospheric conditions and all of that sort of stuff. So, would you like to be embalmed and put on display forever? I don't. Yeah.
What happens to the soul, Neil?
Well, exactly. No, I wouldn't. I'm not that vain. I don't. Firstly, I don't think there are going to be many people flocking to see my embalmed corpse.
Come on, mate. You're not dead yet. Still got time.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could be that.
This podcast could go to the stratosphere,
multi-platinum, and then suddenly, we have to embalm these two people and preserve them for all time, so people listen back. So it would be like one of those.
Who would have thought when they started out talking about legends, it's like Bill and Ted?
Well, if we're going to do it like that, then I'd want to have like one of those wind-up strings on my back, so I just spout irritating catchphrases.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
What would your catchphrase be, Chris?
My catchphrase.
One a bit, yeah, whatever.
Fair enough. Well, I've not really thought. Well, my catchphrase on this isn't my
like
catchphrase.
Your epitaph, basically, but
epitaph,
in an embalmed corpse with a wind-up string.
Don't have nightmares.
Yeah, there you go. To which my response would be, if you don't want me to have nightmares, why did you put that into an embalmed corpse? It's fucking alive. I assure you I am going to not be able to follow that advice.
I don't know. What would mine... I don't know. Keep dancing, Freddie. That'll be mine. I'm going to try and work that in over the next few years.
That's a sort of Bill and Ted style...
Oh yeah, no, I won't then. The soil is rich here. Yeah, that'd be a good metaphor for a lot of things.
Give it some thought, eh?
No, settled on it now.
That's it. Get that into the wheel. Get that.
Just going to type it into my will, which is on the back of a fag packet.
I'm sure it'll still be honoured.
Wow, it's not like I've got like loads of people desperate to get hold of desperate to clear out my bachelor's grief flat. So just goes to my mum, and then she'll just say to my friends, "Is there anything you want to remember him by?" No. All right, I'll just. I'll sell the TV, and that'll probably pay for a house clearance firm.
Well, someone down the tip might.
Yeah, someone down the tip might find some use out of my stuff. Who knows?
Right.
Just leave the door open and say, "Take what you want," and including my embalmed corpse.
Yeah. If you want to embalm this corpse, please feel free.
Are there any? Does he have any organs that you might want?
They've gone a little squishy by now, but
probably be all right.
Be fine. Beggars can't be choosers.
Give them to your pets. So we do. Is there more of a story behind it than that?
Well, we haven't even got to this. We haven't even got to it yet. So the Pacualita, this is a Mexican tourist attraction, and people are wondering whether it's a mannequin or a corpse that's being used as one. So what you have, it's in a bridal shop in Chihuahua in Mexico, and which has an incredibly lifelike store mannequin.
Right.
Incredibly well. I mean, I'm taking this at face value. We'll talk about the photographs in a minute. So
I'm looking at the picture now.
The face is astonishingly expressive, complete with thick eyelashes and a glassy eyes gaze. Hands constructed with painstaking detail, and the legs even have varicose veins. You know, so not like your store mannequin that you'd see, you know, in ancient Egypt or in a department store, which is just kind of like, you know, just doesn't really look particularly human, just a rough shape to drape clothes around. So it's dressed in an elaborate wedding dress, but that's only the second thing that most passers-by will take note of.
I mean, that's unsurprising considering it's wearing wedding dress and the shop sells wedding dresses. That doesn't. Don't know why that would be weird.
So no, but it's the eerily realistic features. So the hands, especially, are noted as being particularly realistic. So she first appeared in the window of the bridal store in 1930. The locals were supposedly immediately struck not only by the mannequin's lifelike appearance, but by the close resemblance she bore to the daughter of the shop owner, Pacualita Esperanza.
Hands are kind of very detailed.
The hands are very detailed. So yeah, we get on there to so.
I mean, I'm not saying that you couldn't. I mean, like you look at some of like wooden sort of carvings of the Renaissance and stuff, and they are as realistic as this. But you do wonder why someone in Chihuahua
decided to go down this route. So yeah, it is interesting, and the fact that it looks so much like his daughter as well. Now, the one thing I'll say, I don't know if you've ever been down Madame Tussauds, Chris.
I have, yeah. It's really boring.
Yeah, but they are incredibly realistic. Those sort of waxwork dummies.
Yeah, they're wax, though, aren't they, rather than carved.
I don't think this face is that realistic, if I'm being honest.
I went to Madame Tussauds when I was a kid, and it was quite realistic. I went probably about 7 or 8 years back because a company I was working for took us for a day trip up to Madame Tussauds. Our team.
What a bizarre thing to do.
Well, the team voted for it, and they voted for that. I didn't. I voted for just like go stay in the office.
Did you work?
No, I didn't. But yeah, so we went out to Madame Tussauds, and it's really gone to. It feels like it's really gone to seed. Like, there's no kind of the waxworks look like they've had better days, and also they don't really stop people from like fucking around with them and stuff. So like all their hair's a bit weird and like out of place.
Well, I would imagine that literally everyone's just doing selfies with them these days.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Sean Connery's tall. Yeah, ish. But I'll tell you who's very tall. He's me tall. Is Big John Wayne. He's the same height as me.
Yeah, 6'3".
6'4". Watch it. Don't take my inch. No, but he doesn't. I don't ever really think of him as. I think I just think of him as looking old rather than particularly big.
No, I think he'd be quite tall. He's quite tall and quite broad, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a big lad.
he used to be a stuntman, didn't he? I think when he started out with John Ford, he was doing stunts on like Stagecoach and stuff. I think that's where he
Are
started.
people better for doing stunts?
What's that?
Are big people better for doing stunts? I would have thought so.
No, fair enough, I guess.
Jackie Chan's the best at doing stunts, and he's not 6'4". He might be. I don't know. Don't know how tall Jackie Chan is. Is Jackie Chan 6'4"?
I'm just saying
Seems unlikely.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming not. I really don't know.
He's actually massive.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, you wouldn't need to be particularly tall to be a stuntman. I don't know why. I was just thinking because it's quite a physical activity. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the kinds of stunts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So kind of picking stuff up off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything where you're being flung anywhere, then the less mass, the better, really, you would think. But they didn't really do that, did they? What did they do? Like, just
I think, back in like 30s.
Get thrown through a window or something.
Whatever, it was just like, a number of deaths were fair enough.
Yeah. I probably could have done that.
I'll get another one in.
Yeah. I think if I was by accident of birth born in America at the turn of the century, I think my two jobs would have been either stuntman or dock worker, I would think, because of my size and Irish descent. Probably dock worker. Yeah, get nice and corrupt.
Yeah, I would be a corrupt union official.
Yeah. Get involved with the White Hands or whatever they were called.
Whatever, yeah, all good. Yeah.
Yeah, get into fights with the Italians. Beautiful.
Retire and start informing McCarthy.
Just instantly.
Playing both sides for as much money as I can get.
Instant turncoat. Get killed within 10 minutes.
I regret nothing.
I was just a poor boy from Brooklyn. The hands are very realistic.
Well, I think what is creepy, though, I mean, regardless of whether you think that this is an embalmed corpse,
I haven't had enough to decide yet,
or a mannequin, the fact that it looks so much like his daughter apparently is a bit weird. So his daughter was preparing to be married when she was tragically bitten by a black widow spider, succumbed to its poison on her wedding day. Tragic. And it wasn't long after her death.
Too late to cancel the caterers then. And the band.
Yeah, the mariachi band were in tears, I would imagine.
They will still get paid.
So that's the thing is, you could keep it all around for the funeral, I guess, but you can't really have a
really quick funeral.
Could
you change clothes?
Yeah. Well, in those days you've got to be, haven't you?
Right, it was going to be a wedding, but it's a funeral now.
You've got to be pragmatic with death rates.
We've already got the priest.
Yeah, exactly. There's a priest here. Let's turn it into a funeral. But I was just thinking, you wouldn't really want a mariachi band at your funeral, would you? Or would you? I don't know.
Well, you'd be dead, so who cares?
Yeah, doesn't matter, does it?
Well, I mean, they could.
Music, mariachi band. I always think of mariachi as being like jolly. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. But I guess what you could do is get them to do, what do they call it? The second line, which is what they do in New Orleans.
Oh yeah,
where they kind of they call it the second line. So when they're taking the corpse or whatever, they have really cheerful music and have a dance. You could do that with a mariachi band, couldn't you? I'm not sure that heavily Catholic, like 1930s Spain, had necessarily the same sensibilities as New Orleans, but I mean, less voodoo, sadly. But could do that.
I mean, an alternative would be just to put an eerily lifelike mannequin that looks like your daughter in your shop. So,
or is your daughter?
Another way to do. Or indeed, possibly is the perfectly preserved body of the unlucky would-be bride. So over the years, customers have claimed that the eyes follow them as they walk around the store. They've turned around to find her suddenly in a different position.
Bollocks.
And her presence is rumoured to even unnerve some of the shop workers, with one claiming, every time I go near Pacualita, my hands break out in a sweat. Her hands are very realistic, and she even has varicose veins on her legs. I believe she's a real person.
Quite superstitious people, I would imagine, in Chihuahua. Do you think?
All those tiny dogs running around, I would imagine. Like anyone's superstitious. Good Lord, that can't be a real thing. It's like a rat and a dog mixed together.
Oh, they're all right. What were they? Were they just bred to be small, or were they for like getting rats and stuff? Probably that.
No idea. I would imagine it's probably more of those ones that they just, you have with like the pedigree sort of cats and dogs, and like some of these pedigrees. Actually, it's quite horrible because there's one. I think is it an English bulldog or something like that. But it's
they can't
the one
breathe, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The folds in their skin are so. I think it's really, they're actually sort of like constantly having difficulty breathing.
A lot of pedigrees have bad health issues, don't they?
Yeah,
even like Labradors like get terrible like joints. They get like arthritis and stuff quite a lot.
Yeah, well, it turns out all of that stuff about purity of genes and stuff that everyone was so keen on the 30s was a load of bollocks. Yeah, because all you're doing is inbreeding kind of quite bad diseases, but yeah. Or, inherited genetic traits. They're just gonna... Yeah, anyway. So another local legend claims that La Pacualita is indeed just a mannequin, or at least started out that way. According to this version of the story, a visiting French magician became so entranced. and a French magician, that's great.
Bonjour!
C'est magique.
Voila.
Oh, there's our French impression for you. So entranced by the bridal mannequin that
le mannequin?
Le mannequin, c'est là. Became so entranced by the bridal mannequin that he would visit her window every night and bring her to life, dancing with her and bringing her around town before returning her to the storefront each morning.
I mean,
So this is either
where my gutter of a mind has gone here.
Well, yeah, of course. Lifetime adventures. I mean,
what was the name of the? What's the name of the? They had to destroy that statue in ancient Rome or Greece because
was it Pygmalion or something?
So people.
There was an artist supposedly who created a statue so perfect he fell in love with it or something.
Well, there was a statue where people kept relieving themselves manfully on the statue because it was so beautiful. Of course, they didn't have the internet, did they?
Well, they didn't know.
I think it was maybe of Athena or something. Don't know. Are you looking it up?
I'm just tucking that one away for later.
I need to give you a minute.
She should take 5. Won't take longer than that. So whatever her true origin, she's become a local legend in her own right over the decades.
Right.
The details
So at the moment, we've got it's the embalmed corpse of his daughter. It's just a statue, or a French magician made her come to life.
With 3 possibilities. There's an eerily lifelike mannequin in a shop in Chihuahua that you can go and see for yourself, which is kind of quite impressively detailed, but in some ways, not.
And it does look like his daughter.
Yeah, and it apparently looks like his daughter, although I don't know exactly how he confirmed that. So,
well, there's a picture of her.
Oh yeah, oh no, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like his dead daughter, which is a bit weird. But
I mean, it could be one of those things where, like, people are really racked with grief, and he asked someone to make a statue to look like his daughter.
Do you think he didn't even realise? It's like his best mate comes in, and he's like, "Oh fucking hell!" And he's like,
yeah, this is awkward.
I have to raise this, but that looks eerily like Pacualita." It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, it doesn't.
Oh,
I don't see it.
You look like Pacualita.
Yeah. I think, you're the one with the problem, my friend.
Yeah. Don't put that on me.
What are you accusing me of? What's going on? Yeah. So again, we're playing with 3 theories here. So you go into, you can go into the shop in Chihuahua, Mexico, and there's this incredibly lifelike mannequin. Now, one of the 3 possibilities that open themselves up for us that we can think here, Chris. 1, it's an incredibly lifelike mannequin. Yeah. 2, that's the embalmed corpse of his daughter. Yeah. Which he somehow managed to preserve in the heat of Chihuahua for around years without any real embalming skills. And, with technology that doesn't exist at this point, but, could be. Or, and here's my favourite, a French magician like to turn the mannequin into a real person and go out dancing of a night. and I'm sure was incredibly appropriate in all of his relations with the.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure what number 3 actually tells us. I like the legend. It's a cracking one, especially it's a magician.
I mean, it's not a bad looking mannequin, to be honest.
If you're gonna turn a mannequin into then that's probably
if you're gonna steal a mannequin. If you're gonna try and steal a mannequin and have sex with it,
that's the one you go.
Not bad,
and already in a bridal gown. So
So you've got there's that kind of naughty side to it. Oh, you're just about to be married.
I'm just thinking. Do you think he studied this really arcane form of magic that lets you turn mannequins
like into
live people? Yeah, something like that.
Put like a bit of scripture in its mouth.
Yeah, so he's like been really intensely studying for 30 years all of this stuff, but he's just been going around. He's sort of just just none of the other mannequins made the cut. And he did try Madame Tussauds, but they're whacked.
He travelled everywhere.
They just melted under the heat of passion.
Tried Lenin. Went to the gulag for a while.
I'll be honest with you, Lenin was very a one-note conversationalist. Just all about the proletariat. So fucking hell, taking you out for dinner.
Oh.
Can we not spoil it with talk about the proletariat?
I wanted a girlfriend experience here, Lenin. Yeah. You could at least keep the wig on. Confessions of a Funeral Director sounds like a saucy 60s film, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds like one of those. That guy, was it Robin Asquith or something? He used to star in all those terrible movies. I've never seen any of them, but back before my time.
Confessions of a Funeral Director, working at the crossroads of life and death. So I've got a little article here. Should I give it a little readout?
I'm just gonna leave you with a final paragraph of this story.
Oh, lovely.
So, it does seem improbable that an embalmed corpse could remain completely intact in the Mexican heat over the course of 8 decades. Agreed. But the current owner seems to know that at least it's good for business. When asked the truth about the famous mannequin in his storefront, he simply winked and replied, "Is it true? I really couldn't say."
Don't worry about it, pussycat.
I got the cut of his jib.
Yeah, it's like having a bit of toast that looks like Jesus or something, and it gets loads of people to come to your
response would have been,
calf.
"No, of course it fucking isn't. Don't be such a twat." Yeah.
No, you wouldn't do that. That's probably the only way
that writing articles about me in this.
That's what would have that's probably keeping his business going, isn't it? Really. So this is from.
You just get a load of people just want to come around and gawp at the potential corpse, wouldn't you? Rather than buying wedding dresses. I think
I would
bride to be off.
Go outside like a black-eyed child with a pan and ask them to put a bit of money in the pan. Or charge for photos.
I don't know. If I was bride to be, that would ruin my special day. I'll tell you what. Going out to pick out my wedding dress, and there's just a load of weird people staring at a mannequin, wondering if it's a corpse.
Well, I mean, if you look at the background of this picture, the wedding dresses seem to be very, very vibrant pink or blue in the shop anyway. So, I don't know. Is that the style in Mexico? It could be.
I'm telling you.
So, La Pacualita, or Little Pascula, is a bridal mannequin that has lived in a store window, 75 years. Here's the photos. Right, what's this? So here's this guy's thoughts, who is a, what did I say, funeral director? Confessions of a Funeral Director. Oh, don't get many of those to the pound. Oh, saucy.
And out in the drawer.
Oh, no, I've lost the corpse.
Well, you've got clammy hands, Doctor. Hang on a minute, you're not Doctor.
Hang on a minute, you're not dead. Cool. So, here are the thoughts of the 1970s bawdy funeral director. Yeah. Embalming. We've seen Lenin and other famous corpses last for years upon years, but their bodies have been meticulously cared for by people in the know. Taps knows. Sure, an embalmed body might last a couple of years, but for it to be kept in pristine condition, it would have to be continuously cared for by people with some degree of technical skill. If La Pacualita is a corpse, 75 years is an impossibly long time for it to remain in such good condition. Climate, so he's confirming a lot of your stuff here. A consideration of the longevity of an embalmed corpse is the climate it's in. If it's in a dry, arid environment, it has a longer chance of lasting. For example, the Egyptian mummies. La Pacualita is located in Chihuahua, Mexico, which lies on the western side of the Chihuahuan Desert ecoregion and has such a semi-arid climate. Moisture is the kryptonite of an embalmed corpse. In fact, La Pacualita exists in a semi-arid environment does not help the argument that it's an embalmed corpse. Well, doesn't it? He said it's quite arid.
Well, yeah.
Well, he's going, if it's in a
if it was in like a desert.
He said if it's in a dry, arid environment, then it's got a chance of lasting longer. For example, the Egyptian mummies. And he's saying because this is a semi-arid climate, but the Egyptian mummies are 3,000-4,000 years.
It's hot, but with moisture in the air, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Egyptian mummies are 4,000 years old. This is less than 100 years old.
Yeah, but they're not looking particularly lifelike these days, are they?
Don't know. Been to Winchester. The hands. If La Pacualita is a wax mannequin or any other type of mannequin, the hands just too intricate. So he's facial features, when you embalm a person hard through the flesh, thoroughly flush them with strong embalming fluid, the lips and eyelids will noticeably dry out. They will start to act like pieces of beef jerky. Is in all the moisture will leave the tissue, leaving it shrunken and wrinkled. If La Pacualita is embalmed, the facial features would probably be noticeably dried out. The face simply looks too supple. Oh, sounds like he's falling in love with it here. Confessions of a funeral director guy here. Of course, the drying out could be fixed with the right kind of cosmeticology wax.
So you
new word for me.
Some paint.
Just fucking stick a bit of like plasticine on it there, whatever. My conclusion: I doubt it's a corpse. It simply looks too good to be 75-year-old embalming job. If the corpse is meticulously maintained, I suppose it's possible, especially in a semi-arid environment, but highly unlikely. Honestly, though, those hands are the mystery to me. They look too real. Oh, so inconclusive from our raunchy friend.
The hands do look very realistic, because I don't think the face looks particularly realistic at all. But hey, maybe that is due to some cosmetology. But yeah,
maybe it's a real hand.
Well, this is my thought earlier. Yeah, maybe
chop the hands off.
So they just preserve the hands so much easier, because they're not looking too great. Maybe it's just a bit of a shabby mannequin. It is a 90-year-old mannequin, to be fair.
Is there any theories around? So maybe
when the French magician used to wake her up, there was just a lot of hand stuff. It's been more actively used than the rest. I don't know.
It's well worn out. Is there a chance that they could have Madame Tussauds style waxed the corpse of the dead woman and done that? I mean, do we know? It doesn't even say what. Is it made of wax?
Made of, yeah. Well, we don't know, do we? So, yeah, it could just be an incredibly lifelike. I mean, the thing is, most mannequins, you're not looking for lifelike.
No, but I mean, you could. What is it? Not theoretically. You could. I mean, it could be believable that someone who's, I don't know, who's very distraught would make a cast of their past loved one's face to be preserved forever. I mean, it's
possible.
I mean, it's not probably something I'd do, but people, stuff their pets after they die, don't they? So,
if he wants to stuff his daughter and shove her in the shop window, who are we to judge?
I know, exactly.
He didn't
it's not like we haven't made mistakes, is it?
Don't like it, you can go and buy your wedding dress elsewhere, frankly. It's free market.
So we don't know. So no one's most affected leave convinced that she's a mum rather than dummy. So I don't know.
Chris, hang on a second.
Neil.
How do you explain the fact that numerous people going into the shop have seen her eyes turn to look at them and her move position?
That a lot of. I mean, there's two. Two ways
the corpse doesn't explain that either, just to be clear. But the French magician theory does, so I like that.
So there's 3 or 4 explanations. So it is the French magician has brought it to life.
Just briefly, he likes to fuck with people.
Brought it to life.
Move to the right, 2 inches. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Presumably he's passed away now. So he can't still be controlling it, but maybe it's got some...
What, a man with the power to bring a mannequin to life, he could be immortal.
Almost certainly. He's probably had a hand in most of history's big events, hasn't he?
I would imagine so. Like that one of those things from that Fringe of the Observers. Yeah.
Yeah, or like the Highlander.
Nobody will get... Or, yeah, actually, that's a better reference, the Highlanders, yeah. I believe Conor McLeod assassinated JFK, didn't he?
Probably.
That would have been a better Highlander too. Would anyone listen? No. Make 'em aliens, they said. It's a mistake, I said, but fair enough. More cocaine to the producer. Don't mind if I do. Right.
There's a French one, sure. The second one is that people sometimes see what they want to see, and in a very superstitious environment, people might think they see something out of the corner of their eye. That's the second one, they're sort of projecting movement.
Witnesses could have just been making this up.
That was my third one was that people are saying it for attention. So
just for a laugh, or just
Well, but getting a laugh is a form of getting attention, isn't it? I mean, it's one which I've certainly used throughout my life as a form to get attention. That or tantrums, obviously, massive hissy fits. So I think it's probably 2. I think people have heard about it. They believe it because they believe that kind of stuff can happen because they're sort of got a big mixture of sort of religious Catholicism, but also there's still the beliefs of the native people of the land, the native Indian people. So I think they think that kind of stuff can happen, and I think because of that, their imagination makes it happen.
So
I think that.
So what I'm hearing, Chris, is we're not completely ruling out the immortal French magician theory.
Can't rule it out.
Yeah.
Can't rule it out, Neil. Nothing, proves that it isn't that.
Prove it's not. Prove it's not.
No way to do that. So let's have a look. Is there anything else about this crazy mummy?
I mean, there's not much to it. There's effectively, a shop owner, probably, as you say, in his grief, made a mannequin that looked very much like his daughter about 90 years ago, and then some idiots thought it was her embalmed corpse. And then, okay, I can imagine, for a few years after the fact, you could maybe go, "Oh, that's eerily lifelike." Maybe,
These things tend to snowball, don't they?
Exactly, yeah. But the fact that we're still believing it, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at some more close-up photos, and I don't think that's an embalmed corpse. If I'm
the
honest,
hands are very realistic, very odd. So that's interesting, but no, it doesn't lend me to believe.
No. Do you know what? Like that? No, I'm changing my mind again. Like the hands are very real.
Yeah.
Like it's got, what do you call them? Your hands have got all the
like the walls,
your skin isn't smooth.
Like that. Yeah.
Your skin's kind of got I don't know, like little patterns on it.
Yeah.
I guess. Like sort of. Mine tend to be kind of diamond patterns or square, sort of like crisscross.
Underrated band.
Crisscross.
I think we should bring back
make you jump.
the dressing.
But the hands have got all that. The hands have got all that, and I don't know.
That's
changing again now.
It's an obsessive attention to detail for creating it. As I say,
you wouldn't. That's not like no one's carved that. That's a mold or something minimum, if not real hands. Right. But the skin on the head doesn't have all the crisscross and stuff.
No,
crisscross patterns
doesn't look that lifelike to me. But then I've not seen it. I'm going off of some photos that I've seen.
Are we going to have to go to Mexico and check this out? Maybe take her out for a drink.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think I'll go hunting for French magicians, and you go and look at those. You go and hang around in the store and see if she moves around.
She will if I'm there. Oh, I'm cutting out. I'm probably not.
It's the more crude variant of that joke that you've probably already made 3 times.
Yeah, so I don't know. So it's a weird one for me. I think the face doesn't look like. I mean, it's a realistic mannequin face, but it does look like a mannequin face. It doesn't have any lines or anything on it, or any kind of paws or stuff like that. Whereas the hands do.
You can see why some of the rumours have spread around, can't you? I imagine
I'm going to start spreading them.
Yeah, because why would somebody create something so lifelike looking? Say maybe just done in real grief for his daughter. Perhaps something he was doing, just kind of some sort of tribute.
Yeah. So what are the debunkers saying? We've already heard Confessions of a Funeral Director who failed to debunk it and said, "Oh, it's weird."
Well, again, he was like, "Well, but look at those hands."
Yeah, it is the hands. The hands are the thing, aren't they?
And varicose veins on the legs. Why would you put that detail in?
Just because they didn't believe in holding up unrealistic beauty standards.
Good for them.
Wonderful stuff. Wax dead daughter. Owlman, next.
Neil, are you with me, Neil?
Sorry, no, I was just thinking about Japanning.
Neil, you're driving. You're driving this. Fucking hell!
All right, go on.
You're right, Mr. Button. I'm trying to get this moving.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, you had enough yet? Or are you going to talk over me again? Yeah, good. You're going to fucking do it, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so this episode.
What's it about, Chris? Tell us. What's it about?
Oh,
am I telling us? Yeah,
go on,
okay,
carry
good.
on. You know what? You want to be Billy Big Bollocks and drive the episode? You're more than welcome. So I'll just sit here and make pithy comments over the top of you.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, do it then. Yeah. So
Chris, this week we're going to talk about the Cornish.
No, we'll talk about Neil
or the Owlman of Mornon.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Did you not? Would you like me to repeat it?
Can if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So this week we're going to be talking about the Cornish Owlman or the Owlman of Mornon.
Right.
Okay, doke. So this is you're gonna guess the location. Obviously, it's the Cornish Owlman, but this is an
Devon.
What was that?
Devon.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they've named him the Cornish Owlman, because he's mostly just hovering around. I'm trying to think of any villages in Devon. I can't.
The thing, so what I noticed, because I was looking for a good British mystery earlier, and they very much seem to come. The vast majority.
It's down the southwest, isn't it? A lot.
Southwest, and East Anglia. So the least populated area. Well, I wouldn't say that, because like Yorkshire moors and stuff are very unpopulated, and the Highlands and stuff. So I don't know what it is about East Anglia and. I mean, the Southwest has always been sort of the hub of vortexes in the UK, hasn't it? And it was its own kingdom prior to, back in the Dark Ages.
You've got your
it was like all the Druids and that.
Celtic kind of culture down there, so that's as the Angles and Saxons moved over England, they kind of like, Celts went into Wales and into Cornwall, didn't they? They speak their own sort of language and all the rest of it. Sort of the Cornish is a bit distinct from British, etc. So there's a bit of a different culture there. I don't know if they've got to have their own bit, but yeah, no, there is. I mean, as you say, it's centered around certain areas. And
well, I know that East Anglia back in Roman times, and because it's very low lying, it was very uninhabited, and a lot of it was kind of misty marshlands and that kind of stuff. So you wonder if maybe it was kind of because it's all, it all got drained and made into farmland, but originally it was quite why can't I say that? Inhospitable. That's it. Sorry, had a little brain freeze there. It was like that, and so you wonder if that's it. And there's lots of kind of legends around that area. So I guess it's kind of these mysterious areas where people struggle to get in. They weren't really connected to the rest of the country.
I think it's the Cornish trying to keep all the second homeowners out. It's a struggle to get rid of a bunch of down from Londoners from invading. I think we need to start coming up with our own urban myths in Brighton to try and assuage that.
Won't happen, will it?
It's too late now, isn't it?
Yeah, can't persuade them. They're never leaving, and it's only an hour on the train.
Although I've heard in Cornwall it's terrible as well, the way some of the locals get treated. I was wondering, a lot of them still, the people come down and buy some picturesque sort of cottage in a fishing village, and then going out and like vandalising boats and stuff. So I'd be making up Owlman as well. Yeah, no, apparently this is the thing. There's I can't remember where the village was, but there was been a spate.
Are you sure about this?
I'll look it up and I'll send it to you. But there was a spate of attacks, and they reckon it must be, because why would the locals do it? But there was a spate of attacks on people's boats down in this fishing village in Cornwall.
Well, that sounds like there's no evidence there at all. It could just be a disgruntled Cornish teenager.
Yeah,
couldn't it?
Yeah, no.
They do have teenagers. You say kind of, that's the whole why shit in your back garden thing, but humans are incredibly well known for doing that constantly. Why would you, if you live on a housing estate, why would you, smash all the swings in and graffiti everywhere? Because that just makes the place where you live worse. But people do it.
I'll have to go back and look up the details. But
that just sounds like more Cornish separatism to me.
Obviously, you've taken against the fine. Well, I'm pro Cornish here. Good tin mines, good people, good pasties.
I'm on the fence. I think this sounds like a Cornish false flag operation.
Do you? Is it sponsored by Big Ginster?
by the Cornish Liberation Party. They do want
That's what they're selling the rest of us, all of those, not particularly authentic pasties to fund this kind of disinformation campaign.
That's it. The money gets funneled in. Yeah. Then you get the Cornish biker gangs over in America who send all the guns and stuff over.
Funded by pasties and tin,
Yeah, exactly. They send pasties and tin over to America. They sell the pasties out to London and train stations, and then that money gets funneled over the Atlantic.
That mining expertise, they're probably burrowing under our houses, releasing our bees into the basement, drain our saliva as we sleep.
Do you know what they say that if you live in London, you're never 6 foot away from a Cornish tin miner.
Yeah.
Because they're digging underneath to destroy all the Victorian sewage network. That's what I've heard.
Well, if that's what you've heard. If a friend of a friend said it, then or heard it, then as we know, it must be true.
Yeah, I heard it from someone in a squat once. So, I believe it is true.
Evidence.
Yeah. So, question marks over the Cornish integrity. That's where I'm starting off. You're very pro Cornish independence.
I'm pro. Well, not necessarily independence, but I'm pro the fine people of Cornwall and their cream teas and pasties.
All right. Well,
and attractive scenic locations.
Well, let's just say, Neil. I'm more nuanced than you, and I'm not going to patronise them with the. I think there's more to Cornwall than cottages and green teas.
I'm not saying there's not good and bad in Cornwall. I'm just anyway. Look, we're not here to focus on the spot. But I'm going to be sharing.
You paint yourself into a corner.
I'm going to be sharing information from Cornwall Live, which obviously to you is like some propaganda unit.
It's like Breitbart.
Yeah. It's like, was it GB News, that new channel they've just come up with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funded by Cornish. Cornish funding behind that.
I think Cornish should be more left wing. Anyway.
Black hat actors.
I'm going to start getting me to believe in the Owlman now.
Yeah, let's hear about this Owlman.
Become native. Right. Get really angry about the order in which you put jam and cream on your scone.
Right, come on.
Right.
Kind of pull it together. You're meant to be driving this episode.
Well,
not as easy as it looks, is it?
That's pretty easy.
Once the hot studio lights are on you.
So, Cornwall Live. Okay. So, a remote church in Cornwall said to be the home of a half-man, half-owl creature, which has been terrifying locals and holidaymakers since the 1920s. So, St Mornan and St Stephen's Church, located about a mile from the village centre of Mornan Smith, it's a peaceful church surrounded by woods and boasting a breathtaking sea view. But according to Cornish folklore, it's been haunted by a human-sized owl with large wings, long claws, and glowing eyes for a century.
I've got to be honest with you. I thought this was going to be more than 100 years old.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? It'd have a bit more of a rich history. But and to be honest with you, I'm not sure it even really does go back to the 20s. But we'll get into that. I think that's some retroactive. I think that is a bit of
retrofitting.
Yeah, they've adjusted it to give it a bit more prosperity behind it, but a bit more of an antecedent. So the beast is known as the Owlman of Mornan Smith.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: the first sighting of the Owlman was only reported in April 1976.
Right.
So if it's been terrifying locals and holidaymakers since the 20s.
Did it say the first sighting or the first reported sighting?
The first sighting of the Owlman was only reported, so it was the first reported sighting.
Right, there you go. Then they keep it in house, don't they?
Yeah, we'll deal with this. Look, our Owlman, our rules,
our justice,
Cornish justice for Cornish Owlman.
Look, to be honest with you,
it's not a grockle.
To be honest with you, he's one of us. Yeah. He keeps the mice population down, and no one goes to that church anyway because we're all doing druid rituals. So, he's fine.
And I'll be honest with you, I bet it was the least of our worries down here.
I bet it was. Yeah.
See the other monsters knocking about.
I bet it was. I bet it wasn't a local who reported it as well.
Well,
sticking their nose in.
It wasn't. No, it's two teenage girls that were on holidays with their parents.
Oh, here we go.
Smith. They walked down to the old remote church. It's more than a mile from the village centre, so but you're in the middle of little deepest, darkest Cornwall, so you've got to make your fun where you can.
Go to a church.
And on top of the church tower, they saw what they described as a terrifying birdman with wings and feathers. Story says they were so scared by the sighting that their father decided to put an end to their holidays and leave Cornwall immediately. And he was going to buy a second home down there, but he cut that off.
It sounds like they came back from the churchyard pissed, and he went, right, we're going home.
Which in the 70s, they thought that, would you have the same level of teenage drinking in those days? Maybe.
Yeah. It's not a new phenomenon.
No, you wouldn't have had it in like the 50s and 60s.
Well, yes, you would.
No. Anyway.
Yeah, in cities you do. In inner cities.
In July of the same year, two 14-year-old girls decided to go camping in the area, but spotted a giant owl of human size with glowing eyes.
Is it always teenage girls?
We'll come on to that. So, at the time, all eyes turned to the village, and the discovery made the national headlines, naming the beast the Owlman of Mornan Smith. Now, here's the thing. The Owlman was quickly branded a hoax when people realised that all reports led back to one man, magician and paranormal researcher Tony Doc Shells.
Doc Shells?
Yeah. Doc in quotes. Doc was his nickname, I guess, like the little kid from The Shining.
Yeah.
Or that Bugs Bunny cartoon. Oh, Bugs Bunny. Read the Bugs Bunny cartoon, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know why I called myself Doc. I don't know if it was like a Gideon McKeith
No, that's kind of a...
had a pretension towards having an academic qualification he didn't have, but...
Yeah, but Doc, DOC, that's like, that's an Americanism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah. Well, is it just from Bugs Bunny, or is that just like a more general kind of thing? I don't know.
No, Doc, like, it would be like snake oil salesmen and stuff would have called themselves like William Duck Johnson or something like that. It's like a little moniker, isn't it?
Yeah, so there you go. What did he call himself? Tony Magic Shields? That would have been good. It's up to him, I guess.
I don't agree with the decisions, but at the end of the day, I'll die fighting. I'll die fighting for his right to make them.
However he wants to live his life. Who am I to say that's wrong?
Scaring teenage girls and that.
Yeah, I mean, so he was involved behind all of these sightings. So quite what he was doing, hanging around with 14-year-olds, asking about Owlman, I don't know, but we'll come back to Doc.
He's a local character.
Well, no, I don't think he was Cornish either. Actually, I mean, he's quite interesting. He's moved off to Ireland now. He's still knocking about. He's an artist, a magician, paranormal researcher, and hoaxer, and all round colourful character.
Sounds like kindred spirit.
Yeah, I think we should try and sort of get hold of him, because he also allegedly saw the Loch Ness Monster, and he took a picture of it, which I think they published in the Daily Mirror. I've been able to track it down, but I don't know if it's that famous one. I think that one predates the 70s. Not. Yeah, I think that was like in the 30s or 40s or something. But there was one I know that I think some people actually admitted to sort of making it. It came out a few years back. There's quite a famous one, but they admitted they'd sort of made it out of like basically a very liquid bottle and a bit of paper mache.
We just chucked a Hoover in.
That is necessary. So he lived in St Ives for years before moving to Ponsonooth, and he's now left Cornwall for Ireland. Oh, okay, so St Ives, so he was local. Yeah.
Sounds like he's on the run.
Well, who knows?
Well, St Ives is a very famous artist enclave, isn't it? Because apparently the light there is very good.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he was an artist. I don't know if he...
Well, there was the whole St Ives school, wasn't there? There was all the artists back in the 40s that lived in St Ives, and it was a big artist place, and they kind of had their own group of artists that did landscapes and stuff over there because of the quality of the light.
Yes. You can't get anywhere else. So people have dismissed the claims of there being an Owlman horse in the church's yard and its nearby woods, explaining teenagers have probably seen a very big owl if they saw anything at all. Since then, several sightings of the creature have been reported on the internet, however. So it's all centred around this one church. So, our Owlman, he's got a preference.
You going to go there?
It's things like when the old pandemic calms down a bit more, it's my next holiday.
That'll be on the tour.
Be my staycation. Yeah, exactly. That, Cannock Chase. Mm-hmm. Drawing up a little bit of a list. Obviously, eventually want to take this international. Get to Latte and all of that. But, for now, we'll, Cornwall and Cannock Chase definitely on the list.
Well, we want to see Robert the Doll, don't we? Obviously.
Oh, yeah, we've got to see Robert the Doll. And no curses.
Ugh.
Remember, asking for permission.
What's the point in anything? I didn't ask you.
Yeah. Robert will sort that out for you. So it's quite a nice, picturesque, if slightly decrepit church. So last year, a ghost hunter from Falmouth claimed that he'd spotted the Owlman and his friend got attacked by it. And I've got some video here, Chris. So Mark Davis was in the graveyard with his friend Chris Power, 36 from Manchester. Mark said, there's ley lines which are under the ground near the church, and they give off paranormal activity. There you go, our old friend, the ley lines. There was a hissing in the trees, and you could hear flapping. I heard it go right over my head, and I was shocked. That's when I saw the figure, and it had horns on its head. It was mad. Mad for it.
Well, the horns could be its ears, couldn't it?
Well, I'm going
to have those little fluffy
show you the...
Is it just a funny
one? Some video. No, it's allegedly serious. And he had a meter.
Yeah, but do you remember when we saw the video of the pig man and it was just someone trying to be funny?
Yes.
Is it like that?
Well, not ostensibly not. They may well be a couple of piss takers from Manchester. I don't know. But from the I'll admit, really cursory scan. I had looked through it when obviously taking the piss. So I'll show you the relevant bits in a second. We'll see. Maybe we can share a bit of that, and we can share the video with people.
What's the video?
We'll come to it in a second.
What's the video called?
Cool, you get.
What's it called so that people can look at it if they want?
We'll come to that in a second. We just want to finish off some of the quotes here because I don't think they actually mentioned this on the video that they shared. So because this is something I love. So on the meter I had, which picks up electric magnetic energy that we use to detect ghosts. So they've got their own PKE meter, which is glorious. I was getting conscious replies to my questions through it. So they've been down Matlins before it got closed down and bought themselves some kind of, I don't know, some energy meter.
Well, they basically bought them a stud finder.
Yeah, probably. or possibly invented it themselves, I don't know. But they use it to detect ghosts. Apparently have got electric magnetic energy. But you can also use it as some sort of communication device or some sort of paranormal, because they're getting conscious replies to their questions through it, so that's good. And anyway, but it was telling them that there was demonic energy and it wasn't safe. My mate got attacked. He had scratches on his arm. His camera broke too. He didn't see anything. He just felt this surge of energy. Didn't realise until about half an hour later when he felt some burning. It's not a place I would advise anyone to go there alone. Let's put it that way.
Right, but you weren't alone. Maybe that's so that he's saying that's what he's saying.
That's why he has to make this backup. Because I tell you what, that guy's he's got some injuries, but it could have been a lot worse if he hadn't had to spend backing up his play.
He could be a pellet by now, couldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He could be a series of tiny pellets smattering the church, mouldering. I mean, and this is that you've got to say this to people: if you're going to go out and investigate these things, always bring backup. Don't go investigating these things by yourself. Ideally, be prepared, be a professional. Make sure you've got your own PKE meter so you can look out for ghosts and ley lines and other phenomena.
Take a stud finder, a thermometer,
camera,
so you can see if there's any.
You've got to get this on YouTube.
Camera, GoPro, ideally, and take a baseball bat with some nails sticking through it. Yeah, what do they call it? A barman's comb, I think they call it in Glasgow.
Just let the local Cornish publican know how you've prepared, and then they'll appreciate that. They'll admire you for your moxie. Yeah, I'm just going to go down the church with all of this equipment and this baseball bat with nails in it. They'll respond really well to that. So make sure you do that.
And if you're like me, always keep a flick knife in your shoe.
Well, you just do that because it looks cool. Well, you actually want two, one in each back pocket. One's a flick knife, one's a flick comb.
One's a comb, yeah. Well, as you know...
You can style your greaser haircut that we both...
For many years, I've been trying to, and being rejected by, get into the local gang of teddy boys. Yeah. So...
I got tired of being a mod. Too many mirrors on my moped, if anything.
Yeah. No, I've just been trying to get... Because I really love rockabilly.
Got a bit more of a rough edge, and you can get into psychobilly then as well, so that's good.
Yeah, and I can keep cigarettes in my sleeve. Yeah. It's a big plus sign for me. Although cigarettes are very expensive now, so I doubt many teddy boys can afford them.
So much money on mohair suits, which frankly are too pricey these days.
Too hot as well. Too hot. I mean, it's a less the teddy boy look. You've got different looks, haven't you? You can wear.
Go with a linen suit. It's fine.
You go with a linen suit, or you can just go with a tight white t-shirt.
Yeah. Blue jeans.
Cigarettes, pair of blue jeans, and some brothel creepers, flick knife, flick comb, and brill cream.
I hope those shoes have got a high shine on them, Chris.
They have, and they've got steel toe caps in for when things get a bit tasty.
Some people might need a kick in, mightn't they? Could be an Owlman. Maybe not. Don't know. We'll see.
Probably is an Owlman.
Right, so I'm gonna.
We're all going down on our 125s, 125 hardtail bobbers to go and kick in the Owlman.
I'm gonna share this with you, Chris, and we can sort of post it up, I guess, on Acast or something. But
I'm not doing that. Just tell them the name now if people are interested.
Let me share the screen. You disabled it.
I haven't disabled anything.
It's not what Zoom's telling me.
Multiple part. There we go. I hadn't disabled it. I hadn't enabled it, though, with different things.
Look, if you want to dispute Zoom's terminology, you're welcome to. I don't care.
Well, one sounds like an act of aggression by me.
Yeah. Here you go. So I believe this cheeky little fella, so I believe this is what we're calling horns, as you say, could be owl ears.
Yeah. Well, they're quite long, aren't they?
Are.
It's very blurred.
I mean, if you're expecting a high resolution...
I mean, this looks like it could be from a colonoscopy.
There you go. Look, see, there you can see it's a bit more... They've tried to outline it a bit more for you there by making it a different colour. Vaguely humanoid figure with... I mean... It
looks like the tick.
It could be low-key, to be honest with you. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know. But hey,
is that
something
it?
spooky in a graveyard. Well, no, just wait for it. So that's us sighting of the Owlman.
Mm.
But...
I'm keeping my powder dry on that.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
There's his PKE meter. Look, it's going mental. It's absolutely mental. There's some real
Is there a creature in these grounds, in the trees? Is it true? Is the story true? Is there something with wings?
Yeah. So I don't think that people will be able to hear this.
No, they won't. And, but here's our last part.
Yeah.
Look.
A bit there. Oh, hold on.
No, he's had a bruising from something, and those look Owlman's scratches to me.
Are they, or is that just makeup?
Ghost hunting.
No, that
can be a dangerous.
No way to tell, is there?
That looks real to me. I'll give him this.
Here's the injuries to Chris.
Yeah.
He's just fallen over.
Could be a makeup job. Could be.
Yeah, difficult to tell, isn't it?
I mean, you can never be sure, can you? Any of these things can be made up.
Absolutely.
But that's.
So there's some. But there is some,
but there is some video evidence. You
there's
take
something
it for what
there.
you want. So this is on a site called Newsflare, and I'm just going to shout out. So you'll want to search for. I caught the infamous Cornwall Owlman on video. It's. I'll give a shout out to the user. I don't know if he's pronounced. It's Mark, I think. It's been uploading videos since 2019. When he put this up on the 22nd of August 2019.
Well, that's quite low res considering 2019.
Yeah, I mean, it was dark, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was quite jumpy as well.
Well, he's scared. He's sharing a churchyard with an Owlman.
No, when I say jumpy, I mean 4 frames a second.
720p.
Well, I mean,
So anyway.
Well, I mean, what I would say is have a look, but keep your expectations in check.
But hey, there is some video evidence there. You may not find it compelling evidence, but nonetheless,
But
to weigh all of these things up.
There is something.
And what they've had to do. So what they've done there really is the reason the images I showed you were quite grainy and kind of skippy. What they've done there is slowed down and enhanced the picture. I believe they used the Blade Runner video technology to do that. Because it was very much in the background. He was just sort of talking. It was only after he'd kind of gone back to analyse the footage, it would seem, that they noticed
that the
Owlman was there. I presume this was after his mate got mullered by the Owlman.
Yeah, and his mate said that he didn't see anything.
No.
He just felt himself.
How can they be sure it is an Owlman? We don't know, but
No, could have been goals.
But if you're going to look for the Owlman, that's where you go, to that particular churchyard. So
Well, I'm up to going down there at some point.
There's some camcorders, and one of them got tacked. And he's got some footage. Judge it how you will.
Okay. So, is that all we have on the Owlman, or is there any more stuff?
So I think that's largely it. I'm going to I think you've basically got those 2 sightings in the 70s. I'm not really seeing...
By the magician.
Yeah, we'll come back to a little bit. Oh, actually, no, sorry. There's a bit more here on the Cornwall Live site, so we'll just have a look. So the spooky tale, they basically, they referenced that video. So that was you've got those 2 stories in the 70s. There's that video that came up. Clearly the creepy tale has kind of come out here. But in Cornwall, a bit like with the hairy hands in Devon, the spooky tale of the Owlman seems to have long been forgotten in Morn and Smith. Now, although many Cornish people still remember the story, they've done some research for us, Cornwall Live. They've got some people down on the ground, which is good. So I had to drive down to the small village to find out more. And they hadn't heard its name for many, many years.
Many moons.
But the place is still quite spooky. A gate leading to the churchyard shows a dramatic-looking inscription, actually in Cornish. Dathimi Nessi Thedu, the porch reads. I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce that. It's good to draw nigh to the Lord. I mean, that's the sort of thing you put on a church, to be fair. And if you look then at the church door, there's a series of what they call worrying hand marks on the back door of the church. Ooh. Could these be terrified people scraping on the door while the Owlman attacks them? Probably not, but...
Do we know how old the church is?
It's a 13th century church. So, yeah, nearly 800 years old.
Yeah, so it could just be people were
800
people were in there when other people came to attack. You know, like people used to hide in churches if people were invading or whatever.
I don't think those would have lasted that long. So these are just literally, it's just there's some dirt on the door.
It's not like scratches and stuff.
No. This is just literally like it's just like fingers sort of like crawling down on the door. You can see this at Cornwall Live. If you look up, they've interpreted that as finger things. It could have been kids playing on the door, just making some noises. Very much. I don't know if you ever used to do this, Chris. You're bored on the bus on the way to school, breathe on the window when it's cold, and then play noughts and crosses. That kept us amused for a while.
Of course, we didn't have mobile phones back then, so simpler times.
Yeah. Couldn't play Snake.
the most up to date. Okay.
There's a reference that's still 20 years out of date as well, but yeah. Okay, so they've gone down and they've done some investigation themselves. And they're going to be going out and speaking to the local population as well. And this is intriguing, Chris. And this is where it points to, there's some real signs of something going on.
There ain't no Owlman here, and there never was. Bam.
Yeah, it's like that. You shouldn't come around here. Not for the look of you. Oh, gosh, impression.
That's pretty good.
like in every horror movie where there's the terrifying person on the road who tells you to get out and not come back.
You want to turn on your heels and get out of there.
You're likely to get killed with Louise.
You'll end up as pellets.
Yeah, you said all that Owlman. It's not like one of your saliva drinking fellas that just makes you a bit dehydrated.
He's not like one of your big city rooster reptiles that drinks saliva. He'll eat you and scratch you up.
Now, there are no signs anywhere in the village or at the church mentioning the Owlman. Isn't that suspicious, Chris?
It sounds...
The Cornish legends, including the Beast of Bodmin, are quite popular. They decided to ask a local who was living at the village at the time while the tale sank into oblivion. She said, I haven't heard it mentioned for years and years, since it first happened, actually. It was a media event at the time. People were scared to go to the church afterwards. The Owlman looked quite menacing from the pictures and drawings made by the girls involved. I don't want to see him, thank you very much. White lady.
If you please.
The spooky woods behind the church are said to be another place where the Owlman was spotted in the past. And she explained that the reason why the Owlman is not a popular story in the village is because the population has changed a lot since the original reports. There you go.
There we go. Fucking broccles.
The older people have passed away or left, and we've had a lot of newcomers in the village who wouldn't know about it, don't even know about a fucking Owlman.
You would have thought that would be something the estate agents would tell you. That should, isn't that something that you should legally disclose?
Yeah. That's
when you're exchanging contracts.
There's a lot of history going on up in there. There are more things that are going on than what meets the eye. A member of my family heard spooky noises from a tree, although there was no wind. Yeah, imagine that. So these ley lines, there's a lot of shit going on. And here's the capper. My husband and I also saw a very strange robin flying straight into a grave. Not quite a terrifying.
Into the gravestone, like as in it hit it, or it went down into the grave.
Well, I don't know if they just dig up graves and wait. I presume
put a load of birds in the bottom.
If an ill-advised non-local ends up messing with an Owlman, you don't want to have to dig up on fresh, do you? So you probably just keep it open there. And strange robins could fly in is your one problem that you got there. But I don't quite know why she mentioned robins, that, to be honest with you. And what was strange about this robin? She doesn't say.
Robins are they're believed in folklore, and I don't know if it's in this country or just in general, folklore to be reincarnated people. Robins are.
Yeah, well, they're kind of like just cute.
Yeah, I like robins, yeah.
It's very much synonymous with Christmas cards and things in this country, aren't they? Robin Redbreast.
Well, my gran always said that she wanted to come back as a robin, what with being a good Catholic. What with being a lapsed Catholic. And she wanted to come back as a robin. And at most, and it could just be confirmation bias, but at most kind of big events, family events, there has been a robin turn up, even though it's out of season or whatever. And that is just confirmation bias, but it's quite nice anyway. You're like, hey, you know, and that's how these things start.
Again, not to criticise her life choices or post-life choices, but I'm not sure I'd want to come back as a robin.
Yeah.
Knocking about, eating worms. I don't know. But then I've never tried it, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Don't knock it till you try it.
Rich source of natural protein, don't knock it till you
But
try it.
I don't think robins eat worms, do they? Or do they? I don't know.
They're not. I don't
know. From bird feeders, don't they?
But, yeah, they've become lazy these days, haven't they? Modern, millennial robins?
Fucking snowflake starlings.
Wouldn't even know how to hunt an earthworm. Just subsidised by.
Bring back national service for songbirds. That's what I say. So,
Owlman knows how to hunt.
yeah. Well,
backing up some Mancunians once every.
Well, he was at the Falklands, wasn't he?
terrifying young ladies.
He was our secret weapon in the Falklands.
So Matt, so this is the thing, isn't it? So suspiciously, there's no real sign of the Owlman anywhere around, and that makes me think cover up, Chris.
Yeah, I think that maybe they.
What are all these people doing, moving into the village, what are they trying to hide? The fact that there's no evidence of an Owlman apart from that video just makes me think they're covering up the evidence of the Owlman. Why would they do that?
I think it could be like, you used to have those secret religions in ancient Rome, like which weren't Christian. I can't remember what they're called, like where they worshipped like a bull.
Well, ancient Rome, I mean, it would have just been the power.
No, but I mean, when Christianity came in, they kind of continued underground, like the Order of Bacchus or something. Not Bacchus, because he's the god of wine, but that kind of thing.
I mean, to be honest with you, that would be the one I'd go for, the Order of Bacchus.
The thing you style yourself on, in your toga. Maybe it's that. Maybe these people are. Owlman, of course, there's the famous ritual which that American secret society do in front of the big owl in
cremating of the care in front of the owl and the I forget what it's called. It's not Ashburton Grove.
Might as well be. Is it Bohemian Grove?
Well, that was all made up. Bohemian Grove, that was
where a 40-foot owl. They worship that. So I'm wondering if maybe it's could it be connected?
Well, maybe when the Plymouth when the old pilgrims went across, there were a few owl worshippers
who rose to prominence.
Speaking Cornish, got rich off the backs of the tin.
Took a load of tin, because they were the biggest tin mines in the world, weren't they? Yeah,
founded the Illuminati by way of Bavaria.
But they scattered across the globe.
Scattered across the globe, and and every president ever since has been, or every president from George Washington was a secret.
They were indoctrinated into it.
All worshipping the Owlman, and that's what they're trying to cover up. US Secret Service don't want non-Cornish people not in on the secret to know about the fact that the Cornish Illuminati control the entire world.
I think there we go. You've tied it all up nicely.
And I'll be honest with you, if this is the last podcast you ever hear from us, then if you've got the bravery, do investigate.
One of two things has happened. Either the Cornish Illuminati have caught up with us finally, or I've fallen off the wagon again. One of those two things, guys. Either way, never stop asking questions.
Again, it's we can only put the evidence in front of you. It's up to you to decide. You've got to,
Yeah. Hooting on.
What you don't want to be doing, the last thing you want to do is to believe in research by qualified people,
Don't do that.
scientists, qualified researchers.
No one's
do your own
researching
research.
the connection between the owl statue at Bohemian Grove and the owl, the demigod that is living in Cornwall right now, moving his own people in.
Yeah.
Boulders Brass
Boulders
moving his
Brass.
own people in to the village nearby.
People won't talk about it, and they're terrified.
People won't talk about it. Have they been brainwashed? Could well be.
Probably.
The older generation who dared speak out are all died of natural causes.
You say something, all of a sudden there's a robin flying into a grave, as if to say, you keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you. It starts with a robin flying into a grave. That's not where it fucking ends.
This is shot across a very.
Robin's going to be flying somewhere else if you're not careful.
This is an incredibly cryptic shot across your bow. Think on.
You want to come down here with cameras, you might see a very poorly pixelated picture of me, but then you're going to get a good scratching.
Yeah. And that's the least I could do. Yeah, get back to Manchester.
Brave lads, come down and try and reveal this. I'll tell you what, as we know, military are probably involved by now, aren't they? Who knows what kind of applications they're trying to make
on whose side, though? Is there a secret war?
Well,
that we're not being told about?
Of course, if you still believe there are nation states, Chris.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got to say, if there is a secret war, then I'm glad the Conservatives are in charge because, United
Nations is run by the
New Labour, New Danger. If you want an owl as a neighbour, vote Labour. That was what they used to say, wasn't it?
Oh my God!
People just laugh it off. Different times. Not really.
Yeah.
Basic humanity.
He's been doing a lot of fucking heavy lifting.
So, Neil, are you? Is that the owl news up to date? Are we going? Should we score it?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think you've got two possibilities here. I'd say, Chris. You've got this. The whole thing is just a hoax.
Yeah, because on a running island somewhere,
and the only known bits of evidence were basically
apart from a video.
This person, we'll never know if that's true because he's now gone to Ireland, and obviously there's no extradition treaties with Dublin.
No, famously.
You just can't. Yeah, famously.
That's why.
Go there for a pint of Guinness and kiss the blimey stone.
Yeah, we can't be extradited from Ireland. That's why there's so many ex members of the Cali cartel living in and around Dundalk, I believe. Massive mansions.
So we can't track down.
No, he's off. If he's moved to Ireland, he's basically off the grid. It's a huge country.
You get lost. You get lost in there, and there's no. I will look for this picture.
Most of it hasn't been mapped.
We could do a whole thing just about this guy. Actually, he's had quite an interesting life. But yeah, basically, so that's one possibility. He made it all up, and it was just a bit of a laugh, a bit of performance art from him. Or what's come out as a far more compelling bit of evidence for me,
Cornish,
the overwhelming evidence
Cornish World Order.
Cornish World Order,
CWO.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
Too late now. I mean, the only thing which I'm going to do is perhaps move somewhere.
Much like global warming, we've ignored the signs that were there all along for too long. And, it's all just going to. The tipping points have already been activated.
I mean, the only thing I maybe get off the grid in Montana or possibly Ireland, and just build.
I mean, that's the only thing we can hope now is that actually they are a force.
Well, I mean, look at the state of the world, Neil.
Some sort of Gaia nature worshipping.
Look at the state of the world.
That's true.
They're just look at the signs all around you. So I think the only thing to do really is to Stockpile as much food as you can, get an arsenal of weapons, and go off grid. And if you see a Hummer pull up near your house or your homestead with people with CWO written on their chest, just start shooting. I think that's the only sensible solution.
I'm just going to try and
get in with them.
I should become a quisling and I'm just going to try and get in with them. Obviously, that's my move, as you know.
What is your move?
So I'm going to learn Cornish and start buying even more pasties than I do already, which is a substantial quantity.
3 meals a day.
Yeah. I think, and obviously a lot more. I've not been eating enough scones, I'll be honest with you. So, and clotted cream's quite delicious. So there's a lot of upsides actually to this. I'm just going to try and placate our Cornish masters.
You for one, welcome them. Our Cornish overlords.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, it looks like we'll probably be.
It's like Pascal's wager. It might not be true, but what have I got to lose by not trying? Just eating more pasties and cream teas. Yeah, that's a bet I'm willing to lose, Chris. It's fine. No downside. It's a smart money.
You could potentially be losing.
And if I'm right,
you could potentially be losing years off your life by switching to an all Cornish diet.
That ship sailed.
Owlman's lunches. That's quite Cornish, isn't it?
No, that was made up by the cheese board in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds Cornish.
That traditional. Does anyone have Plowman's lunches anymore?
No, I don't. But I never did anyway.
Not seen it since the 90s.
What's that? They
it's quite nice. Bit of mediocre cheddar and.
Is it in Cornwall where they eat garden snails or something like that? There's a fake. They call it something weird.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's an area where they get snails from the dry stone walling, and it's somewhere in the West Country, and they're like a local delicacy.
Yeah, it could well be. I must confess, I wouldn't want to prepare one. There's a whole thing, they call it desliming. I forget what the French word is, but that's not something I particularly want to do. But I've eaten snails before. Although I will go back to the point that if you fry anything in enough garlic and butter, it's going to taste nice.
It's in Somerset, I think, more so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they call them something weird. Oh, Mendip wallfish.
Oh, that very, very vaguely rings a bell.
Yeah, wallfish. Yeah, Mendip wallfish. How European?
Well, there you go. As you can see, we haven't really improved much over the couple of years we've been doing it. But I consider that consistency. If you ever want to get in touch, .legends.podcast@gmail.com, and there'll be another one of these next week. And then on the 29th, Series 5 will begin. Yep, we're going to go forever. Cool. All right. Well, have a good week, everyone. And thanks for listening. Take care. Goodbye.